Going aftermarket with the stereo system on your Harley Davidson? If you're keeping the factory radio, you're going to want to get a harness just like this one to get the job done correctly.
I designed this harness so that my customers would have an easier time adding aftermarket amplifiers and sound processors to their factory radio. This harness makes aftermarket gear totally plug and play to the bike, and it dramatically simplifies the connections at the amplifier and the sound processor. This harness can work as a connection point to the amplifier without a sound processor in the system as well. If you're using a DSP that's external to the amplifier, like the DSR1 that I have here, you can make your battery, ground, and accessory connections to the built-in accessory plug. I included a processor power circuit so that you don't have to splice into the bike's harness for accessory or run dedicated power lines all the way to the battery. We use the same system for the speaker connections on this harness as well, and we meticulously labeled each and every connection for you, so there are no wires to track down on the bike. All connections are located in one spot on the bike on a single harness. Stay tuned. After the commercial, we get into the technical side of connections. Whether you're building a new system or just need the very best parts, visit AmericanHardbag.com to find all the parts that you'll need for your next Harley audio system. All parts sold at AmericanHardbag.com are well documented, guaranteed to fit, and selected specifically for Harley performance. If you're looking for the very best in Harley audio, look no further than AmericanHardbag.com. Check this out. I put a quick disconnect on the external power section of the harness. This makes it real nice when you're installing your equipment because you can separate the DSP from the amplifier and just install one component at a time without the mess of having everything strung together. Now, if you're not using a separate DSP, make sure that you unplug this section. You don't want bare power connections floating around in your fairing. Remember that this harness is not a high to low level adapter. High to low level adapters are junk and don't belong on a bike system. The RCAs on this harness carry full speaker level, so don't use this harness with any amplifier that is not designed for speaker level on an RCA type connection. If you are using an amplifier that does not accept speaker level over RCA, like a Sound Digital, but you are using a DSP like a DSR1, you're all good because a DSR1 outputs a line level signal. Speaker connections. I made speaker connections super easy on this harness. This harness taps directly into the factory speaker lines already in the bike. Each speaker connection is clearly labeled and terminated with a quality uninsulated butt connector that is heat shrunk on one side. These connectors can be used with either a wire-to-wire type connection or with an Allen type connection. These are by far the two most common type of speaker connections that you will find on modern amplifiers. I also integrated a radio load network into the harness that mimics the presence of factory speakers. This makes the entire volume range of the factory radio usable without distortion, and that is something that you do not get when you use a high to low level converter. So this is what the finished connections look like with the processor and the amplifier connected to the harness. All that's left to do now is to plug it into the bike. The large connector with the male pins plugs into the factory radio harness on the bike. The small 2-pin connector with the blue wire plugs into the factory accessory circuit. You can find the bike's accessory connection behind the voltage gauge. For more information, tech articles, and videos, visit AmericanHardbag.com.
Are you ready?